As a maternity care provider, you hold and care for others every day. Who holds you? Welcome to The Resilient Birth Worker. I'm Sarah, naturopathic doctor and lactation consultant. This is the space for midwives, doulas, nurses, and other maternity care providers feeling stuck between offering the care mothers truly need, the demands of our culture, and the restrictions that serve the system instead of the humans within it. Together, we're on a journey to more rest, resilience, and healing. When you feel more resourced, so too are the families you hold. When your energy is restored, so too is the life you desire. Let's root in. Welcome back. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to do your best to be honest with yourself. How many times in the last month have you said yes when your entire body was screaming no? Maybe you took an extra shift when you were already depleted. Maybe you agreed to a discount for a client even though you can't really afford it. Maybe you responded to a client's message outside of your office hours when you were trying to focus on your family. Maybe you just smiled and nodded and even laughed politely when a colleague said something that made your blood boil. In birth work, and often in female socialized roles, we call this being nice. We call it being supportive. We call it being a team player. But in the nervous system, it has a different name. It's called fawning. In previous episodes, we've talked about fight, flight, and freeze, the red zone and the blue zone. But there's a fourth survival response, fawn. Fawning is the please and appease response. It happens when our nervous system decides that the safest way to survive a threat is to be compliant, to be helpful, to be small, to be liked. If you can't fight the threat and you can't run away from it, your nervous system decides to merge with it. You figure out exactly what the other person wants and you become that thing. In the hospital hierarchy, in the vulnerability of a client's home, or in the wild environment of social media, fawning is a brilliant survival strategy. It keeps the peace. It prevents conflict. It keeps you safe in the group. But fawning doesn't always look like a massive boundary violation. Often it shows up much more quietly in Micro-Fawns. It's the immediate text back that says, "No worries at all," when a client cancels on you at the last minute without paying. Inside, you're actually worried and a little annoyed, but you soothe their guilt. It's softening your voice and making yourself physically smaller when you walk into a hospital room to advocate for your client, hoping you don't step on any toes. It's absorbing someone else's bad mood and immediately trying to fix it, believing that their discomfort is your responsibility. Now, here is where birth workers sometimes get a little stuck. We entered this field because we're deeply compassionate people. So when I talk about setting boundaries and stopping the fawn response, the unseen armor can kick in and say, "But Sarah, if I stop accommodating people, won't that make me too rigid? Won't it prevent me from bringing on clients who need support? Won't it prevent me from making a living in this business I've created to do the work I love?" Here's the vital difference. Compassion is a choice made from a grounded place. It comes from the green zone. You see a need, you check in with your capacity, and you choose to help. Fawning is a compulsion driven by fear. It comes from the red zone. You sense a conflict, you feel a spike of anxiety, and you react by abandoning yourself to make others feel comfortable so the anxiety stops. When you help someone from a place of true compassion, often you feel energized, or at least neutral. When you help someone from a fawn response, you feel drained and eventually resentful. Resentment is your body's way of telling you that you've overgiven. When we override that internal no, we are suppressing a massive amount of mobilization energy. Your body actually revved up to set a boundary that was healthy fight energy, but you forced a smile on top of it. And that energy has to go somewhere. It usually turns inward. It shows up as jaw tension or TMJ from literally biting your tongue. It shows up as migraines, digestive issues, or that simmering, unexplainable anxiety that wakes you up at 3 a.m. To heal from this, we have to learn to tolerate the discomfort of being disappointing to others, so we can stop being disappointing to ourselves. So how do we stop fawning? We can't just decide to have better boundaries. We have to create the safety our bodies need to speak them. I want to teach you a tool called the grounding anchor. This is a perfect tool for those moments on social media, standing at the nurse's station, or in a discovery call when you feel the pressure to say yes and you need to find your no. Or when you're feeling activated by a situation or experience and you want to check in with what's true for you. You can do this right now, wherever you are, if it's safe to do so. Feel your feet. Press your heels firmly onto the floor. Wiggle your toes. Remind your brain that you are standing on solid ground. You are supported. Find a contact point. Press your hands firmly onto your thighs. Feel the boundary of your own skin. Remind yourself where you end and the other person begins. Orient. Look around the room and name in your mind 3 things that you see. A blue cup, a gray wall, a green plant. This brings your brain back to the present moment and hopefully a little bit further into the green zone. It takes you out of the threat of the interaction. Once you're grounded, check in with your body, with your gut, your heart, and then answer the request. And remember, I need to check my calendar and get back to you, or a few minutes of pause before you respond to a message is a completely valid response. So you have more space than the immediate moment allows to practice this grounding anchor. This week I have a gentle challenge for you. Notice the fawn. You don't even have to change it yet. Just create awareness of it. Notice when you smile when you aren't happy. Notice when you apologize for taking up space. Notice when you agree to something that makes your stomach drop. Notice and whisper to yourself, that was the fawn response. I was trying to stay safe. Awareness is the first step to creating change. Be well, be rooted, and be resourced. I'll see you next time. I'm so grateful you took the time to nourish yourself today. If this episode helped you feel a little less alone and a little more steady, I invite you to follow or subscribe and continue nurturing rest, resilience, and healing. And if you know someone who would benefit from the ecosystem of support we're cultivating here, please share the podcast with them. Until next time, be gentle with yourself.